Okay, so welcoming everybody, and I still see people coming in. Welcome to the Spiritual Frontiers Fellowship January presentation of Carmen Turner-Schott, 2023 Astrological Forecast, A Time of Change. I want to thank everybody for joining us and for your acceptance, if you can, of the little bit of blip that we had getting in here. Things happen sometimes, and they just did. And if you're here for the first time, we want to say welcome and glad that you found us and glad we were able to get you in. And if you've been with us before, welcome back to the SFF community. My name is Smith Prim, and I'm the co-chairman for the Spiritual Frontiers Fellowship, along with Catherine Smart. Catherine is also our writer and editor. Kim Kasdorf, who is also here tonight, is our media director. And Eileen Jenna is our program director, and she's waving. Thanks, Eileen. We want you to know that SFF is here for you. We're a nonprofit, all volunteer-run organization, and we're here to help you develop and enhance your spiritual, mystical, and metaphysical awareness and consciousness. We do that by sponsoring programs like this one tonight, designed to facilitate your personal growth and development, and a holistic and spiritual approach to health and living. We are recording our presentation tonight, so if you would not like to be recorded, please take a moment and turn off your camera. Before I introduce the speaker, I usually like to do just a 3-breath centering. So if you could just join me and maybe gently close your eyes a little bit and take a breath in. And release all the distractions and the Mercury retrograde energy out. Take another breath in and breathe in love and light. And exhale any remaining issues or worries that you might have. And bring your focus to our presentation tonight. And one more breath in of pure love and light. And open your eyes and welcome back. So I'm here, I'm so honored tonight to introduce Carmen Turner-Schott. Tonight, Carmen will discuss the new year. This year we'll start off with the planet of communication, Mercury, being in retrograde to the sign Capricorn. That goes on from December 29th through January the 18th. She will discuss how this will impact our lives and how to prepare for the changes. Carmen notes that Pluto, the planet of change, transformation, and massive upheaval, will move into the sign Aquarius for the first time since the 18th century. Carmen will not only explain how these changes will impact us, but also provide insights on how we can adapt and transform from the intense energy. So wanted to mention that in addition to tonight's presentation, Carmen is offering a workshop on January the 27th. The workshop is entitled Explore the Mysteries of the 8th and 12th Astrological Houses. It will be on Friday, January the 27th from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's 5 p.m. Central Standard. So we have a wide range of area that we cover, and we would love to see you come to that. The cost for the workshop is $50. It's going to provide a lot of different things that will provide a basic and deeper understanding of the 8th and 12th astrological houses and the related planet placements and karmic issues. And there's a wide variety of issues that can range from dying and sacrifice and spiritual seeking and natural healing. All those will be discussed and more. 8th house people and 12th house people and the lessons that they face and the great journeys that they must travel. She'll also talk about Edgar Cayce's spiritual gifts and an in-depth analysis of his 8th house astrological natal chart. Carmen's research about the 8th and 12th houses, energy patterns, relationship patterns, and karmic cycles, plus an understanding of the blessings and difficulties of the 8th and 12th houses. So if I want to remind you also that this question and answer in person is only available when you come to our meetings in person. We do have a recorded version of our presentation, but you would not get the question and answer part. So now, if you could, sit back and prepare to enjoy the informative and enlightening presentation by Carmen Turner-Schott.
Hi, everyone. Can you see my slides? Good. So welcome. Thank you for having me. There's just a lot about astrology that I want to share with you. And so I want to start off by just saying that, I'm a psychological astrologer. So I started studying astrology when I was 16 years old because I had a experience with a glowing ball of light in my doorway that changed my life when I was 16. And after that time, I started researching astrology and spirituality and Edgar Casey and just researching a lot about my chart. And I realized what a powerful tool that astrology is for self-awareness. And so I use astrology as a psychological tool to help people understand themselves and other people better and to understand energy. So I want to start off by saying I'm not going to get real technical into the math and the degrees and all that stuff. I want this to be a very practical, hands-on discussion where I'm going to share with you about these energies that affect all of us in our daily life. And a lot of times we're not even aware of it, just like today with Mercury being retrograde, I've been anticipating, some type of technological stuff. So, it happens. People didn't get my email or they said they try to leave a message, you didn't get their phone message, or, you can't get into Zoom, all those kind of things. So right now there's a lot going on, but I wanted to show you my chart here just a little bit so you can see a little bit about me if you know astrology. I'm a Virgo sun, I'm an Aries moon. Two of my research specialties I've been researching since I was 19 is the 8th and 12th houses, that we talked about. And that's where I really focus on helping people that have had some type of trauma. So, as we talk and I go over some of these energies, everyone has things in their life that need healed. And so there's some astrological energies that are really forcing us to heal that we've been through the end of 2022 and that we're going to be facing into 2023. But I wanted you just to kind of get a little snapshot of my chart and know where I'm coming from before I start talking. And I want to get some interaction to it. Sometimes I might ask you some questions and love to, you put in the chat and kind of, so I'm not just talking at you, but there's a lot of information and I love to talk. And this is just a snapshot of the key things that are going to be affecting us this year. There's so many things going on in astrology, but I wanted to highlight the most important things to me that I think you might enjoy. So I'm going to go to my next slide. All right. So right now, about 29 December, you probably started feeling it right around Christmas week. The planet Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the planet, the messenger. It rules, everything with writing, technology, speaking, all of these things, right? And when it goes retrograde, what that means is that it looks like, we say it's spinning backwards in the sky. So looking up there, it means the energy is, I want to say blocked, but the energy is affected. So it's not spinning freely, it's not flowing freely, like our energy, just like the chakras energy, just like the energy that affects us. It's a little bit blocked. So during this time, it's going to be retrograde until January 18, and we'll still feel it kind of like a shadow period is what they call it, till the end of January, really. So it's a time of there's some delays, there's some things from the past that tend to come back up, and you have to deal with it. People can come back from your past. I find that a lot of times, old loved ones or old relationship partners or old friends will contact you out of the blue during Mercury retrograde. And that's a very common theme that I've seen in my research. And another thing is it's not a good time to start any new projects. So it's really a time to reflect and to go within and to really look at, what you're doing, what goals are, and to finish anything that you've already started. So if you've already planned on buying a house or writing a book and you just need to edit that book, this is the time where you're going to have a lot of positive energy to do that, to get some things done and motivated that you've been wanting to do that you may have been putting off. Okay. So just know that it's a good time to finish that, but it's not a good time to start anything new or to sign any kind of contracts or any buy a car, anything major. And I'll give you an example. When Mercury was retrograde last May, not this year, last year, my husband and I we're looking to buy a house. And we finally found a house after looking at about 30 homes that we agreed on. And we signed that contract during Mercury retrograde. And I remember telling him, I don't have a good feeling about this. And I knew astrologically, what happens is you tend to find things out, or things aren't what you think they are. Once Mercury goes back direct, you find out, oh, wait, there's things that kind of mess things up in a way. So what happened was the lady decided she didn't want to sell the house after we already signed the contract, and she changed her mind. And so we didn't end up buying the house. And I just laughed because I knew it wasn't a good time to buy a house during Mercury retrograde, but, just to give you some tips about that. So it's a good time too. A lot of times people misinterpret what you say. People are a little bit more on edge, because 100% of what we do is communicate, non-verbally, verbally, and writing. And people can misinterpret your email. They can misinterpret, something you said and maybe take offense. People feel a little bit more on edge, a little bit more, I don't want to say irritable, but just know, have some grace with other people, have some grace with yourself, and just know, this is a tense time for a lot of people when Mercury is retrograde, because we're not able to flow and communicate easily like we typically are. So these are just some things you might feel, it's a good time, like I said, to get old tasks done. You might feel a little mental fog, like you just can't focus, a little bit distracted. That's okay. It'll pass. It happens, 4 times a year we have a Mercury goes retrograde. So it affects us quite a bit. And these are the dates that are coming up that you can kind of plan for. I think you'll get copies of all these slides, to reference back to as well. But, I'll just throw it out there. During Mercury retrograde, has anyone had anything they want to share that is like a classic textbook Mercury retrograde experience?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, what happened?
I was just operated on yesterday for my
Oh,
shoulder, so I'm a little woozy. But
oh,
when I went to admit they didn't know anything when I went to tell them special conditions. Oh, you don't have to worry about that. That's not going to stop them. And I said, no, I had to push to get the anesthesiologist to address what I was concerned about, which was relevant, that the front desk was like, oh no, we don't need to bother them with that. That's good.
oh.
And that's probably happening outside of Mercury retrograde, but for me, it affected me.
It
And
affected you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it all worked out.
You had to speak up for yourself more, like advocate, yeah.
Multiple times to multiple people in the middle of a busy work day.
Oh, yes.
It turned out, like I said, turned out fine. So Mercury retrograde doesn't necessarily mean disaster. It
That's
means
right.
obstacles.
That's right.
Okay.
Obstacles. And we got to put a little extra effort into making sure we're getting our point across and communicating correctly, right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, I had him write it all down word for word and read it back to me, and it still went wrong. That's
Yes.
classic, huh? Thank y'all. Thank you.
Yes. So, and this is what's amazing about astrology, that I love, is that, the energy, everything is energy, and with astrology, when you know your birth chart, even if you don't know your birth chart, we know astrologically that these planets and these energies are affecting life on Earth, and that kind of leads into the full moon discussion that I'm going to talk about right now. Tonight, you'll be able to see the beautiful moon out there. It'll be full officially on tomorrow, and it's in Cancer. And so, Cancer energy, Cancer is a water sign. They're nurturing, motherly, moody, dependent, security focused, creative, and they're very connected to the past. So during this kind of a full moon, we may feel like we want to withdraw from the world and from work, and we want to be home and escape from the outside world and escape from stress and just kind of be safe and happy in our cozy little home, cuddling with our pets and our blankets and just kind of staying out of too much stress, because the Cancer moon really heightens everyone's intuitive abilities and everyone's emotions. I don't know about you, but I've been a little bit emotional the past couple of days. I've been fighting an illness. I've had strep throat and just overcoming some things in my life. And so if you typically aren't really an emotional person, this full moon is going to really kind of force you to feel. And so that's what the full moons do. They make us feel different things, depending on what sign they're in. And Cancer is all about, connecting with the emotions and listening to your intuition. And so this is a really good time to connect with what you really feel, and to let yourself, feel it, cry, watch a good movie, listen to music, do things that make you feel good. And you might feel a little sad, maybe a little depressed during this time. And that's Cancer energy. It's that water energy. And the thing with the full moon is, we know it affects the tides of the ocean. People always ask me, this is one of the most practical things I explain to non-astrology people, that don't believe in astrology. If you look at the research, police officers, emergency room docs, and when I was a social worker, I used to work with runaway teens. And during the full moon weekend, all of my teens would be at the police station, and we would get a lot busier. And there's more domestic disputes. There's more accidents. There's all of these things happen during a full moon that they've scientifically really researched. So there's a lot of science behind it, but it is energy. So this is a very powerful full moon this weekend. So enjoy it, with everything going on. And I was going to tell you too, has anybody, does anybody want to share, what the full moon, how you feel during a full moon? We have all of the different moon cycles. There's the new moon, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of that, some of the new moons coming up. But, there's all these different cycles that you can set your intentions, with full moon, and things you want to plan, things you want to, affirmations, positive affirmations, things like that. Is there anything specifically that you notice during certain full moons, different signs? I know for me, when the moon is in a water sign, like Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, I tend to dream very deeply and have very vivid dreams during that time, more so than usual. So those are some things you might notice. So does anyone want to share any of your?
Carmen, Robin said she has insomnia.
Oh, yes. That is a classic of the full moon. I'm glad you brought that up. Difficulty sleeping, because the energy, I can feel it. I could feel it yesterday. You'll start feeling it a couple of days before the moon is full, is when I feel like I have the hardest time sleeping. Once it gets full, so after tomorrow night, I'll probably sleep better. That's kind of my pattern. I started watching for myself and doing a little journal, so I would know and what sign it was in, because I started realizing I feel really different depending on what sign the moon is in and when it's full. And yes, sleep, it can cause our sleep issues. It can cause more arguments. People are a little bit to take things a little bit more personal. Let me say that. And especially with Cancer, Cancers are very sensitive and very empathic. And so they tend to get their feelings hurt. So right now we could be a little raw emotionally, right? Because of this full moon. I think I see Pauline, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was wondering, I am a Cancer.
Nice.
And the full moon does affect me tremendously, but I was just wondering, does it affect me even more when it's in Cancer?
I would say yes. My grandmother was a Cancer sun, and every time there was a full moon, she would call me and say, it's a full moon, isn't it? She would always tell me, she's like, because I feel different. And I'm like, it is. And I think a lot of times, for me, when the moon is full in my sign, like Virgo, or even in your moon sign, if you know what your moon sign is, if you've had your birth chart, you might feel an intensified type of an energy. You might be more intuitive. You might have more, spiritual experiences, that happen, and feel more emotional. Yeah.
So if it's in Cancer now, does it go around the same as the sun? So then it would be in Leo and Virgo and
yes, it'll move through each of those. Every 2 to 3 days, the moon changes signs.
yeah.
So it's pretty quick. That's why, when we do a birth chart, we really need to know your time of birth, because we know the sun stays in each sign, each constellation for about 30 days, but the moon changes every 2 to 3 days depending on your time and place of birth. So if even twins can have a different birth chart, because they can have a different emotional nature, which is the moon. If they're born an hour or two apart, it could change that moon sign, which is your emotional nature. That's your inner self, right? So, so it's good to, if you haven't done the birth chart, you can go on astro.com and pull up a free chart. And if you have your time, you'll get the most accurate chart you can get. You really need your time. There's ways astrologers can get an accurate chart for you if you don't know your time of birth, because a lot of people tell me they don't have a birth certificate or a baby book, or their parents aren't here anymore, so they don't know the time. But there's ways that we can try to narrow it down, because the birth chart's a map of your soul. And if it's not validated for you, then we know we don't have the right time in the right chart, because it should be your personality and it will be validated, so, but you can do that. But yeah, if you don't know your moon sign, it's really important to know that, because the sun, moon, and rising sign are the top 3 things that we really need to know. There's a lot. You could spend lifetime and years studying astrology. It's so deep and mystical, and I'm always learning something new myself. It's amazing. But you got to know your top 3, your rising sign, which is kind of how people see you when they first meet you. And it's kind of your mask, and it's how you relate to all areas of life, the 12 houses, the 12 areas. And then your moon is your emotional nature, and then the sun is your main identity, your main personality. So those 3 things are really important to know.
Thank you.
Thank you. So one of the things going on right now, which is a very big deal, and I'll be very happy once January 12th comes. Gemini is the sign of communication as well. It's ruled by Mercury. So Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, the 2 sun signs. So they get affected a lot by Mercury retrograde. Of course, they feel it a little bit more, more delays, more obstacles, as we talked about, than other signs, because they're ruled by Mercury. That's their ruler. So Mars is the planet of aggression, the planet of drive, the planet of passion, right? It's where we feel driven to succeed and do things. It's also the planet of anger, right? Where we get a little frustrated and angry, and where we have some conflict. And Mars has been in Gemini, which is a very vocal sign, okay? Sarcastic, witty, a communicator. And so with Mars being retrograde, it's been retrograde, which we talked about, means it's the energy's blocked. So it's kind of spinning backwards in the sky right now. It's been affecting everyone. And I don't know about you guys, but I've seen it at work. I've seen it in my family with my husband, my daughter, everyone around me. There's more tension and a little bit more arguments going on, where people are bickering. They're bickering more than they typically would. And they're just, it's verbal, like debates. So I'm curious how you guys have been feeling with Mars and Gemini being retrograde. It's been affecting us for a while now. It's going to go direct on January 12th, this is good news. That means it's going to be spinning normal again, but it's still, it's going to be in Gemini until March 25th. And then it's going to change signs, which is a big deal. It's going to go into the sign Cancer, and it'll be in Cancer through May 20. So right now, once it goes direct, I think we're going to feel a lot better. Let me just say that. I think we're going to feel more of a flow of communication. We're going to feel a little bit happier, a little bit more social, a little bit more jovial, a little bit more, want to laugh, joke around a little bit more, because it's been kind of blocked, and that Gemini energy has been kind of building up inside of us, like this tension, and we may not even know how to express it or communicate lately, because it just feels like we're afraid of saying the wrong thing, or we just are irritated. We don't want to talk at all, right? So communication has really been affected. And you want to kind of know your birth chart, because you want to know where Mars is in your birth chart. And if you don't, like I said, you could go to astro.com, get a free chart. Mars, I have Mars in Gemini in my birth chart. So with it being in Gemini now and being a retrograde, it's sitting right on my natal Mars. So I've been very, I think that's why I've been sick, and I've had some throat stuff, and, some things affecting my voice, which is affecting my communication. And with Mercury retrograde as well. So you can see little things in your life, how that energy will affect you. But just know you'll feel better soon. Next Thursday, it's going to go direct. This will be it'll be like a weight lifted off. I really do feel it's going to be a better energy for us. We're going to feel a little bit lighter. And once it goes into Cancer, you know, it's on March 25th. So we've got a couple months before it goes in there. And, you know, we're going to start feeling better with our communication and with how we express ourselves and our passion. You know, it's hard to go for your goals and put the effort and energy in when you feel blocked, right? So once it goes direct, we're going to have that energy back to pursue our goals, pursue our passion, maybe get our to-do list done, you know, accomplish some things that we've been, you know, feeling a little bit stuck with. So it's a good energy change is coming up next week on the 12th with that Mars going direct. So that's really good. I also wanted, I meant to share this earlier. I wanted to share the full moon dates. You know, you'll have these and it'll go through, you know, each sign, you know, the moon is in. One of you guys had asked about it, and you can kind of see what full moon is, you know, what sign it's in, and the date for the next year. So you can have that. And as we talked about, you know, when the moon is full, you know, we want to, in astrology, we always want to look at the sign. And, you know, so right now we know the moon is full in Cancer, which is the mother, the intuitive, the caretaker, the homebody, right? Well, when the moon goes in Leo on 5 February, we're going to feel, we're going to want to have fun. We're going to want to be playful. We're going to want to, you know, do some exciting. We're going to want to be artistic and creative. We're going to want to express ourselves because Leo is the sign of self-expression and pleasure and fun and love and leadership. So it's going to be a lighthearted full moon next month. Okay. And then you can kind of follow it and look up these different full moons, you know, on Google and different sites and learn a lot more if you want to know. But does anyone have any questions about the full moons or Mars going direct or anything before I move forward? All right. So one of the biggest things that's going on is we've had Uranus and Taurus, and the thing about Uranus is the planet of unexpected change. Okay, Uranus is the planet of technology, futuristic things, science, technology, astrology, you know, space, all of this like unexpected electric kind of energy. The planet Uranus rules Aquarius, the sign Aquarius, and Aquarius is known to be the rebel, the revolutionary, the scientist, the you know, friendship. They love friends. They love humanitarian causes. They love their freedom. This is the planet of freedom, the planet of independence, right? And it is, it's been retrograde, okay, which has been really affecting everyone in a very big way in the world, really. And so once it goes direct, we're going to feel a lot better. We've been feeling a little bit unsettled. There's been kind of this unstable kind of feeling. The way I explain Uranus is if you think about Uranus and Pluto in astrology, Uranus is unstable. It's kind of blindsides you, kind of hits and then goes away, comes back, and it affects you, right? This energy is kind of pushing you to grow, pushing you to push your boundaries. So if you're stuck in tradition and you're stuck in some, you know, rigid thoughts or beliefs, the planet Uranus likes to shake you up and wake you up. It likes to make you change your beliefs, change your religion, change your feelings and emotions about things, and open up your mind. Okay, that's Uranus kind of energy. And Pluto is a similar kind of an energy, but you can feel Pluto energy coming because it rules Scorpio. It's deep, it's intense, it's like this powerful feeling that I can always feel a Pluto transit, right? Coming into my life or into someone's chart. You can feel it. And you may not know what it is, but it's, you know, you can feel Pluto and you'll know, okay, change is coming. I can feel it. Uranus is a little different. It's that one planet that It always shocks me. It's the planet that likes to shock you. And that's why, Aquarius sun sign people get the reputation of being eccentric, and they like to, shock people. They like to be unique and different and creative. And that's why, because they're ruled by the planet Uranus. That's how they get their personality traits, right? And so this is a major astrological event that's been going on. And you can see that Uranus will be changing signs. It's going to be, it's in this Taurus, and we're going to feel like more focused on money. When you think of Taurus is the sign that rules the money house in our chart. It rules money, finance, security, comfort, the future, having money in the bank, having that stability in your life to do the things you want to do in the practical world. That's Taurus. And when Uranus is in Taurus, it feels a little unsettling. People may feel, money issues, the economy right now, if you kind of look at the world, what's going on, there's things are higher, the price of eggs, the price of, gas, all of these things at the store, inflation, everyone's kind of noticing, or it's more in the news and media right now about financial concerns with people. And I think that really has to do with this Uranus and Taurus energy that's affecting the whole world right now. And Taurus seeks security. They seek balance. They seek wellness, and they like to know what's going to happen. They don't like change. So the planet of change is in the sign that hates change. So this is affecting everyone, and so it's a good time to go to a counselor, to heal, to talk about anything that's stressing you out or worrying you, and balancing all of your challenges, and looking at what you value. A lot of people are changing what's important to them. This is something that I've noticed with a lot of people lately, is that, especially with COVID and everything that's happened, is people don't want to have to go into the office and work anymore. A lot of people want to remote work. So this whole new, thing that you see online with people wanting to be remote and not have to work in an office anymore, because they realize they can do the same job they did in an office from their home. And so this is kind of a revolutionary kind of Uranus thing that's going on. And I see it a lot in my normal job. The government's even, hiring tons of remote jobs. A lot of these jobs now you don't have to move. You can stay in your house and work for the government, or these companies are really trying to recruit this younger generation and everyone that has realized, they want change. They want something different than what we had before. So this is kind of something that's been going on for over a year now, but it's really getting to the point where every time I talk to someone, they said, I'm looking for a remote job. I mean, everyone I talk to is like, I want a remote job. I'm looking for one, and so everyone's looking for a remote job, it seems like, or wanting, valuing something different. Before, they never knew that they wanted to be remote or work from home until they got to do it, right? And so that's kind of this Uranus and Taurus energy, a practical example, that I like to give to show how it's affecting us. And just curious, has anyone been feeling any of these effects of Uranus and Taurus, and want to share any of your stories or anything you've been through? All right, you don't have to. We can do Q&A at the end as well, but I wanted to give a chance. All right, so one awesome thing, that's going to happen is Jupiter, the planet of good luck and good fortune. I love Jupiter. In our astrology chart, I really don't think there's anything bad about Jupiter. It's one of my favorite planets. The only thing, it can be the planet of excess. So you can tend to kind of overdo it, like overeat, oversleep, right? It's all about abundance. So Jupiter is, abundance and expression, generosity, all of this positive energy, and it's in the sign Aries, and it went into Aries on December 20th. Okay. And so we're feeling that. We're feeling it's this positive energy that's going to be blessing us throughout the year and through May. So we'll go on till May 2023 there. And Jupiter won't be in Aries again until 2034. So this is a very awesome time, because if anyone's in Aries on here, I'll tell you, I love Aries. My moon is in Aries, my Jupiter's in Aries in my birth chart, but Aries are the go-getters. They're the first sign of the zodiac. So they like to get things started. They start the spring season, right? When the flowers are blooming, March, April, that's their sun. And they're all about motivating people. They're all about being enthusiastic. They're a cardinal sign, which means they like to come up with new ideas and new projects, and they like their freedom. They like their independence. They're self-reliant. This self-reliant, happy, fun-loving energy is going to be affecting us. This is a good thing, because we really need this now, especially when the retrograde Mars, goes away next week, and some of these shifts happen in the next month. We're going to feel a lot better physically, emotionally, energy-wise. I think we're going to feel a lot better. And so these are just some things to remember with this Jupiter in Aries. I can't think of anything bad about it. It's a good time to break from the past and to start fresh. So if anything has been, if you've been kind of wanting to make a change, New Year's resolutions, here we go. This is a perfect time to get your resolutions going, your affirmations, or whatever word for the year, that you want to focus on for you. Jupiter Aries is going to help you achieve it. This is like a very positive energy that we all can tap into right now. So I wanted to share a little bit about that. I don't want to talk to you. Yes.
I got a quick question. So, anybody that has a question, you can either raise your hand on the thing or unmute yourself too. You said this is happening now, but it's kind of being blocked by the Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, the Mars and Gemini retrograde, and not so much Mercury as well, but especially that Mars retrograde that we've been dealing with has been hard, because that our drive and passion has been blocked. So this Jupiter and Aries energy is going to be full speed ahead once Mars goes direct next week. It's going to be good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be
after next Thursday. Is that right? Or next week?
Next Thursday. Yeah. The 12th.
Next Thursday, the 12th. Okay. Thank you.
Gemini Mars will not be, it will not be retrograde. This will be good. And then I'm looking, and I just pulled the chat up. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything here. Okay. So, looks like, somebody bought a car. Okay. You're not in trouble, but if something might happen, it's like little things. It's not going to be the end of the world, but like little obstacles, might happen, or, you might have a light might come on the new car, maybe not, but sometimes it's these little things happen. You're like, oh, but nothing major with the Mercury retrograde. And then someone asked, was Mercury retrograde on Elon Musk's when he bought Twitter? That's interesting. Yeah, it could have been. And then we'll do the Q&As as well. So make sure there's no other. Yeah, how long is it? Okay, perfect. And so I got to pull up the chat separate. I can't see both. But yeah, I love Jupiter's, the most positive, beneficial planet to just really get us into what we really want to do. And let me make sure I didn't, there we go. All right. So
Hey, Carmen.
Yes.
There was one other question. In the person in the process of moving and everything is going wrong, then eventually gets sorted out. How long does the retrograde last? And I think you just answered that, but
yes. So the Mercury retrograde is going to end the end of this month. So
Carmen, you also gave us the dates of other retrogrades. How long do they usually last?
It varies depending on the planets.
Okay.
It kind of varies. So the Gemini, I think, what did we say? Was it May or no, was it March or May? It goes into a new sign. So it stays into each sign different amounts of time. Sometimes, Aries, what we say, Jupiter won't be in Aries again until 2034. It varies, but those are kind of the key things. So the good news is Mercury is going direct this month. Mm-hmm. So it's affecting us now. It's going to affect us till the end of the month. you're going to be feeling it a little bit. And we call it, the way we describe it is we call it the shadow period. If you look it up online, it's like about a week before it goes retrograde officially and a week after it goes direct. We can still be affected by the energy, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And the same with Mars, when Mars goes direct next Thursday, there might still be some after effects for a little bit, but I think we're going to feel a major relief. I know I'm going to, being a Mars and Gemini natal chart person. So I'm looking forward to it because it's been very difficult to communicate and different things like that for me. It's been very difficult because I have a lot of Mercury in my chart. I have a lot of Virgo. And so if you kind of know your chart, you'll know some people, a Mercury retrograde doesn't affect them at all. I've had people tell me, well, yeah, I had an email not get to me, or I missed a phone call, or, but some people, they dread it because they really get affected by it more than other people. So everyone's really different. I think how the Mercury retrograde affects you, you know what I mean? But it does, I believe it affects everyone, because even people that I work with that aren't believers in astrology, I'll say Mercury's retrograde. We got to be careful what we put in writing. Take a deep breath. Don't send that email if you're mad, or upset, because people won't take it the way you wanted to say it. It could be misinterpreted. So people now will say, Carmen, is Mercury retrograde? And they'll want to know. And I'm like, it is. And they're like, I knew it. So I got people that are starting to kind of believe and listen because they've seen that I've been right about some things when I mention it. At first they think that I'm crazy, and then they're like, no, I feel strange. What's going on? They'll ask me. But yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, these two retrogrades are really affecting us right now at the beginning of the year. Good news is here, we're going to be feeling a relief. So this is good. But I hope I answered the question. Did someone say they're moving a lot and they're just wanting to know lots of problems with the move? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they just said they were in the process of moving and everything's going wrong. So I'm assuming by the end of this month that things will get
Yes.
sorted out. Yeah.
In February. Yeah. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you buy a house during Mercury retrograde, which, you do. Sometimes you buy a car, it happens. And there might be some little obstacles and things along the way, but there tends to be, we notice it more. Let me say that we notice it more. And it may be because we're also watching for it, because, as we were preparing for this, I was worried about having issues with my slides, because last Mercury retrograde in the fall, I couldn't get my slides up on a live. I was doing a live thing like this and we could not get my slides. So I was like, really obsessed with that this time. So we got it working, and so you got to put a little extra effort. That's a good way to say it. When there's a retrograde, it's like, you got it. Like she was saying, she had to keep asking the same questions to the doctor, you have to kind of put more effort into communicating clearly. That's a good way to, I think, to say it.
Right.
And then, Jupiter, this is a big thing that's going to happen. Like we talked about, Jupiter's in Aries, which is good right now for us. It's going to be good. And it's going to be in Aries through May. And then it's going to move into Taurus. Okay. And we talked a little bit about that. And it's going to be there until May 25, 2024. So that tells you how long it'll be in that sign. And it's going to affect us for quite a bit there. And when Jupiter, we talked about, it's the planet of good luck, good fortune, expansion, generosity, abundance, all these good energies. And it's in Taurus. So Taurus energy is an earth sign. They're ruled by Venus. They like pleasure. They like calmness. They like stability. They like comfort. We talked about that. They like peace. They like harmony. And so Jupiter is going to feel at home there. And it's going to be a time where we're going to want to, achieve our goals, because the other thing about Taurus is, as an earth sign, they're very hardworking. They're achievers. They like to achieve their goals. They like to be, they're patient, they're realistic, they're practical types of people. And so this Jupiter energy is going to kind of make us start focusing more on practical things, right? Things we want to achieve, things we want to do maybe with work, with our finances, and with our future. So this is kind of how we're going to feel a little bit of a shift. When it's in Aries, we're like motivated, let's have fun, let's have excitement, let's go and do all these new things. But then when it shifts into Taurus, we're going to kind of go inward a little bit more. You know, what do we value? What do we really want to achieve right during this next year? And so you're going to feel that shift when it changes signs, if that makes sense. And patience is what will attract what we want, because Tauruses are known to be patient. And Jupiter expands and just makes that patience even more, you know, broad and bigger, and gives us that ability to be positive while doing tedious tasks, right? While being productive, while being organized, while being, you know, making lists and prioritizing our goals. We're going to have all of that more stable energy to do that, if that makes sense, during this Jupiter and Taurus. Let's see where I'm at with time. It's 7 o'clock, so I got about 30 minutes. Okay, good. So let me click here. All right, so Saturn. So Saturn is the planet of karma. It's the planet of discipline. It's the planet that really has to do with our past lives, our burdens, our responsibilities, this life, right? Wherever Saturn is, it's where we can be very work focused, very hardworking, very driven. You know, Saturn rules the sign Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. You know, they are the sign that rules career, work, and achievement and success. And so Saturn moves, you know, into Pisces on March 7th. Okay. And this is, you know, a big transit that astrologers are talking about, because it's going to change signs. It's going to be there for about 3 years. So Saturn, I want to say Saturn and Pisces are opposite, but in you know, the way to explain it is this: Saturn is it can be known as more of a heavy energy. Okay. More of a very practical, realistic type of a planet. Okay. Its energy is all about, you know, what's real, what's practical, what makes sense, you know, that Capricorn kind of personality, you know, and that's Saturn, you know, loyal, hardworking, devoted, you know, committed, very committed. And Pisces is the sign of spirituality. Pisces is the compassionate one, the spiritual one, the mystic, you know, dreamer, dreams, artistic, creative, likes to help other people, likes to be of service and help people that are sick. So healing people, you know, Pisces are healers. They like to go into counseling, nursing, therapy, working with children, or art, music, you know, all those types of things. So when Saturn goes in there, you know, a lot of people may feel like they want to start a new venture. They want to start a new business. They want to get in touch with their, where their heart is, you know, where their, you know, intuitive goals are, where their imagination is. You know, Pisces are imaginative, and, you know, Saturn is a realist. So this energy can kind of test us a little bit. I think it's going to test us a little bit when Saturn's in Pisces, because Saturn strips away illusion, and Pisces is all about seeing things the way they want to see them. You know, Pisces rules the 12th house. So Pisces is all about being idealistic and seeing the good in everything and in everyone. So Pisces, you know, they always want to see the good, and they always want to believe that in all of those, you know, everything's pretty, everything's beautiful, everything's perfect, right? And Saturn's like, no, I'm gonna make you see things realistically, and you can't be mystical and too spiritual about this. You got to be practical about this too, right? So you got both of these energies blending, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just something to be aware of, you know, that you may feel more reflective, and you're going to desire to have a spiritual connection. And, you know, I'll tell you what, one thing I think I've been feeling, I mean, we're not even in March yet, but I feel like I'm already kind of anticipating that people that have had a spiritual path, or have been wanting to meditate more, or wanting to do yoga more, exercise more, or do self-care, you know, do energy work, you know, anything that yoga, you know, anything that helps you on your path, you're going to feel more disciplined, you know, because Saturn's about discipline, more disciplined to do your spiritual practices. So you may be more disciplined if you decide you want to read a new book every month for 2023. This might be the year you can do that, because Saturn in Pisces is going to motivate you. If you have 12 books that you've been wanting to read, they're about spiritual things, about your path, or things that can help you, with self-care. I think self-care, this is what keeps coming to me right now as I'm just talking. I think it's a big thing for Saturn and Pisces that we need to take care of ourselves, because I think a lot of people have been giving. The past 2 years have been very difficult for a lot of people, which we're gonna get into that here in a minute of why. But I think that this is the time we need to go within, and we really need to. It's about healing, and there's some other themes I'm going to talk about that really have to do with, we all need to heal anything that needs to be healed that we have not fully dealt with or faced or felt. And I kind of call it like an emotional detox sort of thing. We need to allow ourselves to feel and not distract ourselves with the material world and with work and distracting from feeling things. So it's this Saturn and Pisces are going to help us connect to what really matters to us. What do we really care about? Is it our health? Is it our family? Does this job we're in, is it a dead end job? Do we really need to change? We're going to start questioning what makes us happy, during this time. So I wanted to share that. And let me move this over. Okay, so you can see Saturn Pisces. Saturn in Pisces marks an ending of cycles, and everything's a cycle of energy. So if you look here, if you were born in the years 1993 to 1996 or 1967, you are currently in your Saturn return. So I want to talk a little bit about what is the Saturn return. This is something that you need to know because it's very important. So everyone on Earth has a Saturn return at the age of 27 to 30 and the age of 57 to 60. Okay. And whenever an astrologer, most astrologers do a birth chart, when I do a consult, I always look at where, when was the person's Saturn return? What house is Saturn in your birth chart? Because that's going to show me the area of life that you had major changes in growth, right? Because that's Saturn. So it takes Saturn about 30 years to get back to where it was when you were born. That's why we call it the Saturn return. It returns back to where it was. It takes it a long time, but when it comes back, it's a cycle. I call it, it's linked to the nodes, our north and south node in our chart. The north node is your soul mission this lifetime. The south node is your past lives. It's what you've already mastered. And we're here to really balance the north and south node, to have a good balance of it. It's not like we have to completely give up the traits of our south node, but we have to master the north node and the sign it's in and the house that it's in. That's why our soul is here on this earth, is to master our node, our north node of the moon. And I'm going to explain what that is. The Saturn return is related to this, because the Saturn return is when you have your first one. The way I explain it is, for the very first time in your life, you start feeling why you're here on earth. You feel your north node pull for the first time when you're 27 to 30. Before that, you're living in the south node. You're living where you feel comfortable, where you've already mastered, your soul's already, used to it, right? The Saturn return makes you feel uncomfortable, and it's like, nope, you're going to change, because you have to grow as a soul and you have to grow as a person. So I'm going to take some things away from you. I'm going to test you. I'm going to do, you may go through marriage, having a child, moving, changing careers, all these things during your Saturn return. And you can look up the research. It's all over the internet. But, when I married, my husband married me, he was in his Saturn return. And then when I had my daughter, gave birth to my daughter, I was in my Saturn return. And we moved across the world to another country. I mean, all these things happened to me, and everyone I meet, oh yeah, I had my baby when I was 28, I got married or divorced, all these things happen. And it's to get us into our soul mission. These different things happen to different people, and, based on your chart, we can kind of see what some experiences might be that you might go through for your growth and learning. That's what it's about. You're not being punished. All of us have to master the Saturn return in our North Node. We all are here for that reason. So there's nothing bad about it, but I just wanted to touch on it in the presentation a little bit, and that way you have the slides and you can look up and see, you know, your birth chart and look at what happened when you were 27 to 30. Does anyone want to share? Has anyone had any major Saturn return experience? One of the things I find that's really, really amazing is that when I do charts for people that are 60 or above, they're in their North Node. Like they tell me, Carmen, I went through all of that and I am now doing what I'm meant to do. And so that's the thing. The universe naturally pulls us to where we need to go, right, with our node. Yes, Chuck, I see your hands raised.
Yeah, when I was age 27, I went to grad school, and then when I was for the second return is when I moved from Ohio to North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Which is a big change.
Very big, very big. Yeah, it's amazing how the energy affects us. So, you know, so many, I don't think I've ever met anyone that didn't have something pretty major happen in their life to make them grow or change, you know. I see Lou and Rick. You got a question?
I was going to say, in my first Saturn return at age 28, my first husband died.
Oh.
And I was told in a life reading that the reason he had to die was because I needed to learn independence.
Wow. Do you know where your North Node is, what sign it's in or house? I'd be interested to see that. You can write me, you know, offline. I'd like to see where your node is. I'm curious. It could be Aries or Libra. I see that a lot with people with the North Node Aries or South Node Libra, vice versa, because their nodes are about relationships, marriage, but also learning to be self-reliant and independent. And I find that sometimes they do lose a partner. And so thank you for sharing that.
Carmen, so are we supposed to look at where Saturn was in what house, or what planet was in there?
Yeah, if you want to look at what at Saturn, the planet, what house it's in and what sign it's in.
Okay.
Yeah, in your chart. So like for me,
So,
I got Saturn in the 11th house in Cancer. So you would want to see where that's at, and then it connects to your node. And I'm gonna get that here. If you look at your chart, let me go back. If you look at your chart, it's the horseshoe thing. It's like a up with the little circles, looks like an upside down. Those are your north and south nodes of the moon. Okay. And I got some slides a little bit later. I'm going to go over this a little bit. This is connected to your Saturn return, because like I said, you start moving into your north node, which is with the horseshoe, with the circle up with the two little thingies on the bottom. That's your north node. Yes. And you want to know what sign it's in and what house it's in, because you're here to master the sign that it's in. And that area of life is going to be the focus of where that energy is going to express. So for instance, I got North Node in Scorpio, South Node Taurus. Well, my North Node is in the 3rd house of communication, of writing, of speaking. So it took me all these years, but eventually I was thrown into this writing and speaking. I never thought I would ever be doing this. But I'm in my node now, getting into that North Node, right? And I'm doing these types of virtual trainings and all of that. That's where it's expressing. But I'm meant to be a Scorpio. That's my North Node. And your North Node is never going to be comfortable, because you're not used to it. It's not who you are, but you're learning to be that, right? And so I remember feeling so uncomfortable. And I remember when I had some things happen to me in my life, you know, during my Saturn return, I remember I was walking and I was listening to music and I had tears coming down my face, right? And I heard this, just like God spoke to me, and I just heard him say, how else am I going to make you a Scorpio? And when I heard that, I just started laughing. And it's so true, because you have to have a little bit of, let's say, pain, but you have to go through some struggles at times to sometimes get into your node. Okay. And it depends on the node. Everyone's different. I believe some nodes are a little bit more challenging than others, right? But we all naturally will end up in our node. We either go kicking and screaming, or the universe is going to get us there no matter what. So it's okay. You don't got to worry about it. You're going to be in it by the time you're 61. So that's what I see with everyone I meet. But yeah, I hope that answered it. But there's a lot to it. But let me make sure. And and guys, you may have to keep me on track. I like to talk a lot. So if I know I don't want to run out of time, and I want to give Q&A, but let me get through a few of these key things, and then there's some we can do. I want to get to the eclipses. That's really important. So Pluto enters Aquarius, which is a big deal. And so, we were talking about this. Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. Okay. And so what's very interesting is, if you think about it, we talked about Pluto, the planet of destruction, rebirth, healing. It's about shadow work. It's about digging deep. Pluto, was, a nuclear power, all of these really intense things. And Pluto rules, traditionally Pluto rules Scorpio, which is the sign of the healing, death, rebirth, transformation, regeneration, resurrection, all of that kind of energy. And it's been in Capricorn. And guess what? It's going into Aquarius on March 23rd, but it only stays there. There's something to know. It only stays there till June 11th. Then it transits back into the sign Capricorn for a little while. Okay. So it's not going to be fully in Aquarius until November 19, 2024. And get this, it's going to be there for 20 years. This is huge. So that's look how much of our life in the future of our world is going to be changed when Pluto fully stays in Aquarius. So let's talk about this a little bit. You can kind of see this energy going on in the world right now, because let me tell you what happened. Think about technology. Everything that happened with Pluto, with COVID, with all the illness, just everything that happened, the world shut down pretty much, right? And so all of these things happened. And I think it's interesting that we started having to use technology to survive. I remember when the job I have, they said, don't come to work. You have to work from home. And we worked from home for 2 years. And we never went into the office for 2 years. And we functioned. And we had to do trainings online and mandatory stuff. And we had to make it work and do SharePoints and Zooms and buy Zoom Gov and, all this stuff. And we survived it. I look back and I don't know how we did it, because we were not technologically savvy when we started. And, it's just like doing this now, doing this on Zoom. This is Aquarius energy. Aquarius is all about the future, science, technology, flying cars, electrical cars, space travel, going to Mars, all of these things that, technology that you would never, the metaverse, all this stuff that's happening, that these changes in the world, it's Aquarius energy. Aquarius, guess what, is non-traditional. They're the rebel, they're the non-conformist, they're the humanitarian. They're about how are we going to take care of the world and the homeless and people that need water and food, helping large people on large scales. That's Aquarius energy. They rule the 11th house, which is groups, friendship, humanitarian efforts. And so Pluto, you can see some things that happen when Pluto's in Aquarius. We pulled out of Afghanistan very quickly. And then when Pluto went retrograde in 2022, the day it went retrograde, Russia invaded Ukraine. And I remember wondering what is going to happen when Pluto goes retrograde, which means it spun backwards. Like we had a retrograde Pluto for a while. Now it's not anymore, but it was. And Russia invaded Ukraine the day it went retrograde. So sometimes you can see these things in the news, the energies play out. But the thing to really know is it's about transformation and rebirth. there could be major changes happen in media, which we're seeing, like someone mentioned Twitter and Elon Musk, right? Secrets. Pluto's all about secrets. It's about hidden things that are beneath the surface that no one knows. But guess what Pluto does? Pluto is like Pandora's box. It always reveals what's hidden. So all these hidden things are coming up about people. I mean, think about all of these celebrities. Let's talk about it. Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio rules sex, sexuality, abuse. People that have been harassing people that have been doing, sexual harassment, all these things have been in the news, right? Called out to the light. This Pluto energy is really, and Capricorn has really brought a lot of things going on here the past several years in the media, in the public, the Me Too movement. I mean, there's all these things that have happened that have to do with healing and transformation and rebirth. And if you look at, Capricorn is considered the old world. It's a tradition. It's what we've always done. Capricorns like that. My grandpa, my dad, and brother, all Capricorn. They're very traditional. They're all about, doing things the way it's always been done. Why do it different? Right? Because it works. But New Age is Aquarius. Aquarius is the New Age. And the energies are going to be all about doing things differently, which is going to challenge the world and challenge everyone, because we're going to be feeling this pull, I think, into more of this innovation and technology. And, one of the things that for my job that we did that I thought, I don't even know how we ended up doing it, but when we had COVID, we have annual mandatory training, and we ended up doing a contract with a virtual reality company, and we did virtual reality training for everyone on sexual assault prevention and response, which is, Pluto energy right there. And so we had, people put on the goggles and they get training. We developed curriculum where they got to talk to a person right in front of them, like 3D for real, and do a training in the virtual world. And so if you look, a lot of things are, virtual reality is big right now. AI, artificial intelligence training. Companies are doing a lot of this for diversity and inclusion. It's really a big thing right now with this innovation technology. So part of it is this energy. So I want to hit on that. I could talk forever about it, so I want to get going so I can cover the other stuff. But any questions about this before I get into the eclipses? Okay. So this has been a very, okay, I want to rewind. Let's look back to the fall. Okay. When we talk about the lunar nodes, when we say, the nodes are in Taurus and Scorpio, they are right now. And we talked a little bit about the North Node, South Node, in your chart. And in the chart of in the sky right now, the North Node, which is a karmic point of the moon, it is in Taurus. So North Node's in Taurus right now, affecting all of us, and the South Node is in Scorpio. And so this is why I talked a little bit about knowing where your nodes are right now, because if, for me, for instance, I have Scorpio, Taurus birth chart nodes. So these nodes are the same energy in my birth chart. It's not going to be that for everyone, right? You may have North Node Libra, South Node Aries. It's okay. But you need to kind of know if you have Scorpio, Taurus nodes, because if you do, you've probably been through a lot in the past year. A lot of change and a lot of healing and transformation. And so I'm gonna show this real quick. I don't know if he's on, but Bernie Ashman, a good friend of mine who's a part of this group, he recommended me. Him and I are writing a book about the nodes. And so I just wanted to let you guys know to watch for that. And we're gonna have each node, each sign, what it means, each house, a basic book for anyone to know and learn about their nodes. So that's going to be coming out in 24 that Bernie and I are writing right now. I kind of got behind with health stuff, so we're not done. But, the biggest thing to know is that the North Node has been in Taurus, and it's there right now. And Taurus, like we talked about, you can have these slides. The energy is all about resisting change, having comfort, having stability, security, material comfort, right? Connected to the past. Tauruses are known to hold on to the past. It's hard for them to forget. Okay, they can forgive but they almost never forget. They're very nostalgic, right? Kind of like a Cancer. They remember everything from their childhood and their friends and their family and their childhood, high school and sports and everything they did. They're very connected to that. They're pack rats. They like to collect things because there's memories and emotions that are connected to material things, right? For Taurus. And it's not that they're, materialistic. Those things have meaning to them. They value them because they're, oh, someone gave me that card, or someone, I loved, took me to that movie and I'm keeping that movie ticket, right? That's Taurus energy. Well, Scorpio is completely the opposite. Scorpio wants change. Scorpio wants resurrection, rebirth, regeneration, healing. So Scorpio energy is known to be very transforming, but also very powerful. Scorpio is the sign that rules power and control and sexuality and anything deep and mystical and intuitive, right? So the nodes have been in Taurus and Scorpio. They're there right now. They're affecting us as we speak. And what happened was we had some eclipses, which I'm sure you guys heard about in the fall. On October 25th, we had a new moon and a partial solar eclipse in Scorpio, which is it was a very intense time for a lot of people. I will tell you, building up to this time, I've known a lot of people that have passed away. I've lost a lot of loved ones. A lot of friends from high school have died unexpectedly. That's how these nodes and eclipses have affected me personally. Now, it depends on what sign your nodes are in your birth chart and where those eclipses occurred for you. Okay. And you can always go back and look. But just so you know, it was a very intense time. A lot of people, had to grieve and had to heal and let go and lost some loved ones. Their birth and death themes throughout our lives and our friends, and forgiveness, letting go of the past, letting go of anything that is holding us back from being whole and healing, okay, is what we've been experiencing in the fall. And then November 8th, guess what? A big full moon, total eclipse in Scorpio happened. And everybody was feeling that big time. If you look back to what was going on in November for you, you can look back and see what was going on. How did I feel? Did anything happen? A lot was going on, a lot of growth, a lot of, the past coming back to haunt us, so to speak. I remember I had so many people. I work with trauma victims in my normal job. And so a lot of people would tell me, I thought I had healed this. I thought I was over this. Why is this coming up? I'm having flashbacks. I'm having memories. I'm having uncomfortable emotions. That's because of the Scorpio Taurus energy of those nodes and these eclipses that we've had. And it's because anything, even if there's no peace, it's like if you have a bacteria and you don't get it all healed up, it can still make you sick. You got to heal very deeply during this time. So people really have been struggling. I'll be honest. A lot of people have told me they've been struggling a little bit, but things are getting better. So I just want to say, if you were struggling in the fall, there's hope, there's good news coming, and I'm going to get there right now. And so we have one final eclipse in the Scorpio Taurus energy this year, and it's May 5th, and there'll be a full moon eclipse at 14 degrees Scorpio. It's going to be very powerful. And this will be, if you start prepping now, and really look within and figure out, okay, is there anything I really need to let go of? Do you need to stop drinking alcohol? Do you need to forgive your father for something that happened when you were a child? Do you need to forgive your spouse? Do you need to forgive your ex-husband, or wife, whatever it is, whatever needs to be healed and what you need to forgive, this is the time to do it. You can cut ties, you can grow, you can move forward to the future, and you can heal your old wounds. This is going to be a powerful time, but I will tell you, you're going to have to let yourself feel on every level. It's like a transformation on every level of your energy body. If you think of the different energy bodies that we have, the etheric, all of the different levels, if you do energy work or Reiki, to really heal all those levels, you'll be able to tap into that kind of healing. I recommend going to an energy worker, pranic healing, body worker, physical therapy, whatever you can do. If you may have more physical pain, you might your body may manifest emotions physically. And if it does, you could, go to get some Reiki, get some healing done, or even, talk therapy, counseling, or getting a, astrology chart done, whatever would help you express and get out of your body all of those heavy and deep, intense emotions will help you, okay, during this time. So you'll be able to have these slides to reference back to, so you know the dates and everything. But the good news is, after May, after we go through these intense North Node, Taurus, Scorpio energies, guess what? The nodes change signs. Yay! So they go into Aries and Libra, which is a lot better in my opinion, because these nodes have been right on my Taurus, Scorpio nodes, right in my birth chart, and I'm ready for them to move. I'm ready for some new good energy. So on July 18th, the North Node enters Aries. And, we talked about Aries is all about motivation, their goals, what do they want to achieve, happiness, challenge, not so much conflict, but Aries they like a little bit of a challenge. They like a little bit of competition. And so drive, passion, all those things, they're ruled by Mars. And so the North Node gets into there, and we're going to start wanting to take more risk. And it's going to be a time we're going to need to listen to our gut instincts and our heart. And we're going to be coming out of this very heavy energy that we've been having for a long time with the Scorpio Taurus energy. So we're going to feel like we're going to have courage. We're going to be ready to fight. We're going to be ready to move forward and have newness and lightness and happiness and spring, all those feelings of spring. That's North Node Aries. And as you know, we talked a little bit about in our chart, Aries rules the self. Libra is its polar opposite. It rules relationships and marriage and partnership. That's the balance of those two nodes. I am, and then and all about compromise. Aries want to do what they want to do. They think, how does this affect me? And a Libra says, how does this affect my partner? And so these nodes are all about balancing the karma in relationships. And so that's what's going to be our challenge through January 11th, 2025. The North Node will be in Aries and the South Node will be in Libra for all of this time affecting us. So you can kind of plan ahead, and it'll be affecting us till 2025. And so these nodes, I think it's really going to be more of a focus on compromise, partnership, teaming up together, all those kind of Aries, Libra things, being, Aries and Libra team players, peace, harmony, passion, having fun, doing what we want to do and accomplishing things and having relationships that can help us do that and partner with people that can help us, and that we can help them. And so this is a really good energy. So I want to talk about that.
Carmen, I don't mean to interrupt, but so when the nodes move, right, and there's more compromise, and it's just a more peaceful energy, right? Yeah. So it doesn't really matter where your birth nodes are. We'll still feel that, even because that's what's happening right now, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to see where the nodes are on your transit chart. If you do a transit chart, you can see what house the Aries and Libra nodes are in, and then you'll be able to see where your normal nodes are in your, if they're not in Aries or Libra, they're not going to be affecting you, like, you know what I mean? They're not, if you are Aries or Libra, they're going to be on your Aries and Libra nodes, like I've had.
So if my nodes are not in Aries and Libra, all right, will that have an effect on me?
Oh yeah, you're still gonna, the nodes are gonna affect you because that's where they're at in the sky right now.
Okay, that's what I want to know. So my question is, will we see more compromise in our political system?
That's a good question. I think so.
Okay.
I think there's going to be conflict because Aries is about conflict, because Aries is ruled by Mars. So there's going to be some conflict before we get there. Okay. But I think it's going to be a balancing act to balance the Aries and the Libra energy through the next couple years in the world.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely. And you can see that now, like, I think there's something going on where they're trying to vote and they can't agree,
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like our whole system is just so broken. And
Yeah,
I'm hoping that with some of this more positive energy coming in,
yeah.
we can kind of get back to, it was never normal, but in my lifetime, but maybe a little bit more normalcy.
Well, the good news is that, Libra is all about justice and the scales of justice, right? And balance. So I'm hoping that, that the nodes are going to help, our government and the world, balance and everyone compromise and peace, bring some peace. And, because that's the thing with these nodes, Aries, it's about meeting in the middle ground, right? You can't always be about yourself, and you can't neglect yourself for others all the time. You got to kind of meet in the middle, right? That's kind of that Aries Libra pull, that energy.
Okay, there's a great question in the chat. Leslie says, my North node is in Libra. How will the new nodes affect a chart if the nodes are opposite what's in the natal chart?
Yes, good question. That's exactly what I just had happen to me with the Taurus Scorpio. So you're gonna feel it's gonna trigger some things for you. So do you know what house they're in, Leslie?
They're in 2 and 8.
Okay. So see, this is going to be that Scorpio Taurus energy, 2 and 8. So that's going to be money, finance, security, and then healing, rebirth, grief, loss, transformation. So you're going to be learning to balance that Aries and Libra energy. It is going to be affecting you in those two areas of life. You're going to want to look at both your 2nd and 8th house. The issues related to that it's going to probably trigger some things, some experiences for you to feel, but it's not a bad thing. It's I had my North node Scorpio, but the South node in Scorpio was right there on my North node Scorpio, and then Taurus. And I found that the 3rd and 9th house stuff was really affected, my communication. It was really being affected, through all kinds of things, and travel delays, all of those things. So you're going to want to look at the 2nd and 8th house energies and watch that real closely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then, so just some things, I want to share some real life stories, with the Scorpio Taurus and the eclipse stuff. My childhood friend that I've known since I was, 8, perfect health, 46 years old. It was the end of September, right after it was during the Taurus Scorpio energy. He went hiking in the woods of Colorado, and he never came home. He had a heart attack at age 46. Didn't know he had anything wrong. My husband's best friend went to the bathroom, and he didn't come back out. And so this is this death and rebirth Scorpio Taurus kind of heavy energy that I've been saying that a lot of people have been affected by, even if it's, not in your immediate family, but around you. I've had a lot of coworkers that have been sick or lost some loved ones just in the fall, from September to December. A lot has happened, and there's just a lot going on. And right before Christmas, I lost a good friend of mine, an astrologer friend from India, who I literally just wrote and thanked him for being such a good friend. It was really odd. He was on my mind, and I wrote him. He actually sent me this ring from India. It's an emerald, and it's supposed to help me with my Mercury. He sent it to me 5 years ago, and I wrote him and I said, thank you for being such a good friend. And 2 days later on Facebook, they had posted that he had passed away. I still don't know how he died. I still don't know, but these nodes were triggering my nodes, so to speak, with the Taurus Scorpio. So I lost a lot of people lately. And I think when these nodes shift into Aries and Libra, we're going to have a lighter energy, and it's going to be easier. I really think things are going to get better, guys. So that's why I'm just kind of hitting on this. If you've lost some loved ones, if you've had some things going on, here's some tips for healing this Taurus Scorpio energy that we've been in. Embrace your feelings, allow yourself to heal your hurts, your traumas. The word trauma, people don't think they have trauma. Some people think trauma means that I was abused as a child, or I saw a really bad thing happen, or I was in a war. No, trauma can be any little thing. Trauma affects everyone differently. No two people react to a stressful or emotional situation in the same way. So you can have trauma, and you may not call it trauma, but you have unhealed, very powerful experiences that have affected you in some way. And that's kind of what I want to highlight, to focus on those things and to let yourself feel those unpleasant emotions. I recommend journaling, meditation, practice self-care, find solitude, whatever helps you. Some people self-care by going on a run and going hiking. Some people self-care by meditating and listening to peaceful music and writing and journaling, or cuddling with their pet, or cooking. Whatever it is, take care of yourself and your family, and really heal and change what needs to be changed. So many times, we know what we need to do, but we resist it. And I've been saying, I want to start working out. I want to walk more. I need to eat healthy. And I know what I need to do, but I resist it. And so I'm now trying to embrace change. And I got sick. So guess what? The universe forced me to lose weight, and I haven't been able to eat in a week. So, now I'm like, okay, I'm going to start eating healthy, and I'm going to get fruits and vegetables. So, things happen to make us change. And so listen to your body, listen to your environment, and let yourself transform and be more vulnerable and express your intimacy. And these nodes that we're in right now are all about intimacy and trust, and they're all about forgiveness. So those are the key words I want to leave with you about healing these nodes that we're in before they switch into Aries and Libra. And then I got some key things. I don't know if you, I'll go through a couple of them real quick, and then we'll do Q&A. And you'll have these slides so you can reference them too. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but some other key events that are going on is Mars moves into Cancer on March 25th through May 2nd. And it's been in Gemini, as we talked about. It's been there for a long time. It's been retrograde right now. It's going to, go direct soon, but it's still going to be affecting us till probably end of month. But we're going to feel a time to get out of our head and into our heart, because Gemini is all about the mind and thinking, and Cancer is all about the emotions and the heart and feeling. And so we're going to feel that change. And then we're going to have a new moon and solar eclipse in Aries on April 20. And when there's a new moon, it's about setting our intentions and thinking about, new beginnings and what we want to see happen and manifest before the next full moon cycle. You can look up the moon cycles, the new moon, the full moon, and it'll tell you a little bit more about that and things you can do during each cycle, a new moon, a full moon, and etc. But solar eclipse is going to be pretty powerful energy we're going to have there in April, and a time to make changes that we've been putting off, because Aries is good at letting things go and moving forward. Aries cuts ties and they keep going. They don't let anything stop them. So Aries is a really good energy that we're going to have here. And you want to look again what house that the eclipse is affecting you in. Where's the moon? Where's that full moon in your birth chart, in your transit chart? Where is it going to kind of trigger some things for you? Those are things you can look at and research before that comes. But Jupiter in Taurus will square Pluto in Aquarius on May 17. I just gave you just a few major, aspects and things that are going to be happening, just so you can kind of know. Jupiter conjunct North Node. Jupiter and Taurus will sextile Saturn and Pisces on June 19th, just some little tips. And then Venus in retrograde in Leo will happen July 22nd through September 3rd. And you're going to, heighten romantic feelings. Sometimes, from the past come back into your life, or you may have thought you were over something or healed something, and an old lover or old past thing comes up to make you kind of think about it again and be a little nostalgic, things like that. And you want to surround yourself around peaceful and positive people during that time. And then solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th. So it'll be eclipse again. And, so we have these eclipses again affecting us. And so things you can look at, see what house it's going to be in. And where you might feel, that area of life may be intensified for you specifically, emotionally during that time. Lunar eclipse in Taurus on October 28. And it's going to be, about survival and healing. Again, paying attention to your physical body, what you eat, how you take care of yourself, all those things, self-worth, what you value. And those are I got through the slides, so we still got some time for Q&A.
Thank you so much. Everybody give Carmen a hand.
Thank
And
you. You guys are great. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Excited. That's my favorite one I'm looking forward to. So I'm gonna start marketing it out there as well in my groups on Facebook, and hopefully we can get a good turnout like this. This was a great turnout. This is great. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
to
Well,
see
I'll see you
everybody.
then, Carmen.
Happy New Year. Have a
Happy
great
New Year.
month.
Thank
Hopefully I
you so
see you
much.
into the
thank
month.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
guys.